It's a real joy for us to be here in the old city. And in the background, you see the excavations of the Temple of Solomon. More to the left, you see the wall, the western wall of the temple, where many of the Jewish people go to pray and to make their wishes known to God. Well, we are standing here in front of a menorah. It's a lampstand. And when I stand here in front of this menorah, it reminds me that God made plans. He gave plans to Moses to build a tabernacle. He gave plans to David so that his son could build the temple. Specific plans exactly in the way that God told them they had to make the tabernacle and later here the temple. This is very fascinating. The fact that God wants to dwell and live among men. And when you study the history of the children of Israel, they were not all obedient. Sometimes they were stubborn, sometimes they were disobedient, but yet God chose to live among them. That's encouraging for me. Well, in the desert, the building that Moses was asked to build is called the tabernacle. And that was very encouraging. It was God's choice to live among his people. Not in a palace, but in a tent, humble, just as they were. Well, the tabernacle had three parts: the inner court, the holies, and the Holy of Holies. It was surrounded by a white curtain, and there was only one door. And the door was always facing east. So when you entered into the tabernacle, you had your back to the east. The east is the place where the people worship the sun. So they're back to the east, facing the west, entering into the presence of the Lord. And the first thing that they had to do was to sacrifice an animal. You see, the life is in the blood. Here lies the foundation. Leviticus 17:11. You were not allowed to go into the tabernacle without an animal. So when the animal was sacrificed, there was also a laver. And this was for the priest, where they washed their hands and they washed their feet. The sinner didn't come further than the inner court. The second place, the holies, was for the priests and the Levites. It was only one tribe that was allowed to go into the holy. And what did we find there? We didn't find there the light of the sun. We found there the light of the menorah. And I want to speak a little bit about the menorah, because it was built out of one piece of gold. One piece. Those arms are not screwed onto it. It is one piece of gold. On top you have oil lamps. And the only light in the holies was the menorah. And that light shone upon the table with showbread. 12 pieces of bread were on the table. That is speaking about the 12 tribes, that God carries them and that his light shines upon them. In the holies, there was also the altar of incense. That's where no animal was sacrificed there, but that's where the high priest prayed, and the incense went as a fragrance to God. So when you pass by the high priest, he smelled after the fragrance. Those were the prayers of the nation. But this is very important to realize that Yeshua says, I am the light of the world. And in another part he says, you are the light of the world. And as this is one piece of gold, the real candlestick is in the middle. The other ones are the arms. Isn't this beautiful? Like the vine with the branches, we are connected to the lampstand. We are united with him because his light shines in me. I shine forward the light of God. Now, concerning the tabernacle, I want to speak about the Holy of Holies. There was not the light of the sun. There was not the light of the menorah. There was the glory. The menorah only lit the holies, but the glory of the Lord lit up the whole camp. And the glory of the Lord was in the Holy of Holies. And there was the Ark of the Covenant. Now when you study in Exodus 25 about the model that God gave to Moses with the tabernacle, he doesn't start with the curtain. No. He starts with the Ark of the Covenant. And this is so beautiful. He starts from within. And from within, he works out. And the most important thing to God is within. When Isaiah had seen the glory of the Lord in Isaiah chapter 6, he says, you know what? I am a man of unclean lips. What he really meant, I am a man with an unclean heart. And as soon as he confessed that, the Lord touched him and cleansed his heart and sent him on his way, renewed from within. And this is the message of the menorah. As Yeshua is the light of the world, he wants us to spread the same light in Israel and to the uttermost parts of the world. I hope you enjoy being the light, because you are the light. In Philippians 2:15 it says, you shine like stars in the night. God bless you and keep shining. Shalom.